What's up, world, and welcome into an all-new edition of the OH.Report video podcast. I am Brian Skronsky, probably about 4 pounds heavier than the last time you seen me, but hey, when you're talking about an 8-course meal 3-4 times a day for the last 4 days, that adds up pretty quick. Also got some fun, exciting friends with us. We'll get to this pretty young lady in just a second, but how about the Fredericktown Lady Freddies in the house? What's up, girls? And it was coloring time with them, too, so they got some artwork. They're going to break down their season and what we can expect from them coming up here this year. But I am far from a solo crew today hanging out with the Freddies. We also got Jory Hollenbeck hanging out with us, and you're going to be letting the people know what they need to be doing this week, right, Jory?
That's right. I'm your what to do girl, so I'm going to give you just 3 things that's going to be happening here in North Central Ohio that you guys can attend. Of course, it's going to be all Christmas, so can't wait to share that with you guys.
All right, Hayden Gray hanging out with us as well. Now, I'm not joking when I said that I was eating like 8-course meals 4 times a day. How long does it take before you're kind of burned out on the Thanksgiving leftovers? Are you at that point yet?
I finished them off yesterday, so I don't get the choice to be burnt out on them today, even if I wanted. But I would still say, if I had them, I would eat them today. I would eat them.
Yeah, I'm going back to the well again. And Travis Berardi, of course, you went back to Mom's house for Thanksgiving. How much food did you bring home?
So I went to my dad's first for lunch, Thanksgiving lunch. Then I went to my mom's house for Thanksgiving dinner. But we had so many people there, so much food that there was a little bit left. But my mom had to go to work. Stepdad went to work the next day. So I kind of got the last of the leftovers, put it in a big old bucket, brought it home. And after I did my highlight on Friday night, I was able to have one more meal. So I had 3 meals out of it. Probably good because I'm trying to not look big like G and Storm. So
you legit had a bucket full of leftovers.
I did. The noodles, the green bean casserole, broccoli casserole,
just like a
turkey.
layer cake.
Yeah. Well, I sorted it back out, but still, it don't matter. It all goes in the same place, right? It's delicious too.
I think so. All right, Jory, so
Okay.
Let's not all go to the same place this week, but if we do, where are the coolest places that we should head around?
Okay, so first of all, though, back on Thanksgiving, I have to ask, did you guys try anything new this Thanksgiving? I want to know what your answer is. But, Brian, you can't answer because ours is the same because I live with you. So, Travis.
It's funny because you were talking about this before we went on here. Cornbread casserole. Cornbread casserole. I had it for the first time, and it was delicious.
Okay.
I'm a pretty good fan of corn, but the cornbread with it's just a very good mixture. I wasn't expecting it to be as delightful as it was, but it was good.
Okay.
I will say there were sweet potatoes, and I did not eat them. That was the one thing that I told you last week. Cannot do the sweet potato casserole. That's the only thing I didn't do.
And that's the one side dish that we're already out of because I've already
eaten
so
that's
many
good. That's all right.
We had everything. I made sweet mashed potatoes. We had green bean casserole, and then the cornbread casserole was the first thing that
great.
Shout
the
out
new
Neighbor
thing.
Jen for coming through with that. Never
It was
even heard of
awesome. Yeah, we had never had it before. And Hayden, did you try anything new?
I'm a very simple guy when it comes to Thanksgiving, so I did not try anything brand new this year. I don't know if we really even made anything brand new, but I'm just more shell-shocked by the fact that you hadn't tried that until now, at this point in your life.
Me either, though.
Yeah.
I really didn't know.
My 3/4
I had cornbread before, and I've had corn, but not together. Great.
No, me either. She was
great.
like cream corn, and then I was seeing pictures you just saw. There was like butter slathered on top with some honey, and I'm like, oh my, I didn't even try the butter and honey. So we have some left, so we're gonna have to eat that.
Desserts. What desserts did you have?
None. It was even my birthday, and I didn't have a cake
Just
or
sweet
anything.
potatoes.
No, that's true.
That was my
Yeah.
Had to have a piece. Had to have a piece of pumpkin
That's
pie.
robbery.
Had to have a piece of pumpkin pie with the Cool Whip on top, and then there's this like mixture. It was like a cinnamon bread type deal, but then it had chocolate and caramel and crunchies on top and whipped cream, and it was delightful. But it's probably like 2,000 calories. So
Calories don't count on Thanksgiving.
no,
Nope.
they don't.
True.
Good point. That's a good point.
Okay, I gotta get going because I got a kid I gotta pick up. So these are my what to do for North Central Ohio this week. So the first one is we're going to go over to Ashland, and we're going to go to my favorite place, Grandpa's Cheese Barn. They have some of the best cheese. Anyways, on Sunday from 2 to 4, they are doing a Christmas time where they're going to have reindeer, Santa Claus. They're going to have hot chocolate. There's going to be lots of different things going on. They're also making their homemade candy cane crunch ice cream. So yeah, there's lots of things going on, sleigh rides, all of that. But I mean, Santa and his reindeer, I think that is going to be lots of fun to go to. And again, that's Sunday from 2 to 4. Yeah, they have some amazing stuff at Grandpa's Cheese Barn.
Definitely the cheese collection. You just went recently and brought home a couple of spicy cheeses. So we had like a
it was a
Munster
buffalo.
and a buffalo.
Like a buffalo sauce one. It was so good.
Shout out, A-Town. Get out there. Get your cheese.
All right, number 2, we're going to stay here in Mansfield. And on Friday from 5 to 8 at the Richland Carousel, they are doing Christmas Time in the City. So Christmas Time in the City, the big tree that's out there, it's like Rockefeller Center, where they're going to light it up. That's going to be, the tree lighting is at 6. And there's going to be carriage rides, another photo op with Santa. They're going to have some more live animals. There's going to be Christmas carols and some cookie decorating for the kiddos. So that should be another fun outing on Friday from 5 to 8 for the whole family to go to, and that's free. So everybody can go and gather and watch the tree lighting. Lots of good times.
Make sure that you have that live and free on your phone so you're keeping up with the high school games that are going on that night too
Exactly.
while you're watching the tree lighting.
Exactly. And then my last thing, we're going to go over to Lexington. Pancakes with Santa. It's all about Santa now since we're almost into December.
Yeah, not
Thanksgiving's over. It's Christmas season.
It is Christmas season. But on Saturday from 8 a.m. to 12 at Lexington High School, they are going to have pancakes with Santa. And, okay, they may not look this good, but when I was Googling it, I saw these and I was like, wow. Some of these creations for these pancakes. But it's going to be pancakes, hot chocolate bar, kids' activities, photo booth with Santa. And then blah, 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 if I could talk, there are tickets for that one, and it's going to be $6 for adults and $3 for students. So those are the top 3 things that I found going on in North Central Ohio. The pancake breakfast, that's just making me hungry.
I have a confession. I've never been to the cheese barn.
What?
Never stepped foot in one.
Never stepped foot in the cheese barn yet. Yeah, there's a bunch of places. They're
not against it. I've just never stepped foot.
You should be shedding tears.
Sorry, I've never eaten at the Der Dutchman at the little train place down
and
there.
then
never been,
right next to the cheese barn is the Sweeties Chocolate Factory.
Never been over there.
So much good
Been
stuff.
over there.
It's time for
I've
an
been to the
OH.Report
Oasis.
field trip.
I've been to the Oasis, just not the cheese barn.
He's been to the Popeyes at the Oasis.
You darn right.
Right.
But
All right, guys.
Hey, thank you very much, Shori.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
No problem. Thanks for having me back.
our very own Stefan, you guys still haven't seen that skit on SNL.
No idea what he's talking
Other
about.
people
Thanks,
do,
guys.
but thank you,
I'll be
Jordan.
back next week.
Never seen it.
All right, guys. Well, you know, it's high school basketball season now, as we've officially turned the calendar.
I just say it's season because all these, one sport goes into another, I just know it's high school season. Is it? We kicked off basketball, right?
No, we tipped off basketball season. You kick off football season and soccer season.
yes.
You tip off hoops. All right.
Okay.
And we've got some special ladies here in the house today who maybe potentially could be in the mix at the end of the year.
Maybe potentially could be. I like that.
For the K-Mac Championship. It feels like it's wide open this year, gentlemen, and we're going to do something that I don't normally recommend, but we're handing off a hot microphone to a bunch of 15 and 16-year-olds. Can we please give it up for 6 members of the Fredericktown Lady Freddies? So what I'd like you to do to start is go ahead, just look into the camera, introduce yourselves one at a time, and let them know what position you play and how dominant you're going to be this season.
All right, well, I'm Callie. I'm a sophomore, and I'm a guard. And, yeah, I think if we put in the work, I think we'll be pretty good this year.
Okay, keeping it humble. I dig it. Next.
I'm Jill Boughton. I'm a junior, and I'm a forward.
I'm Kennedy, and I'm a sophomore, and I'm a post.
I'm Ella Boughton. I'm a freshman. I'm a guard and a forward.
And she forgot a red jersey
I'm
today.
Bryant. I'm a freshman, and I'm a post.
I'm Kit Bellman, and I'm a freshman, and I'm a guard.
All right, let's begin with Kit, since she's got the microphone now. Tell us about your Thanksgiving and the tradition that went down in your house. How did you take it in?
Well, I was sick during Thanksgiving, so I didn't do anything.
All right, so maybe off to the next, yeah.
During Thanksgiving, I went to my grandma's house, and we just have like a really big Thanksgiving with all my cousins and everything. So,
Yeah, everyone can answer this one.
At our house, we get everybody over. There's about 20, 25 people there, and we just have a lot of food and have fun.
Just my immediate family, like my grandma and my cousins all come. Like, not my entire family, but we just eat dinner at my grandma's.
Ella's my sister, so we basically do the same thing. We just had a lot of good, delicious food.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Lots of family and lots of food. Pretty good.
Do you feel like Thanksgiving break kind of like disrupts the basketball season a little bit, like you're getting into a flow and maybe it kind of interrupts it, or does it give you a chance to refocus and dial in?
Well, we did have some time off, which was very nice, but I think the girls are ready to get back at it and start working hard. So,
who thinks they ate the biggest plate on Thanksgiving? Who mashed the most out of this crew over here?
I don't know. I ate a lot.
No one wants to trump the other, so lots of big appetites, I presume.
Yeah.
All right, so since we only got like a couple of, if you even want to call them upperclassmen, I mean, we got a junior here, so actually go ahead, pass off the microphone to Jill. Talk to me about having this really young team and how much you feel like at practice you need to help coach up some of these girls. You got 3 of them that have never played at the high school level before this season.
Yeah, it's definitely just like trying to get them into the flow of like high school ball and how Coach Maseko wants things done, and just making sure they're really aggressive and know what's going on.
So go ahead, pass the microphone down to the freshmen then, and give us just your first initial thoughts about high school basketball and how much different is it from 8th grade?
It's really different because it's a lot more like fast-paced, and like in middle school you could get away with being a little selfish, but in high school you have to like play like as a team.
So you split your first couple of games there, Kit. Yeah, you can hand her the mic. That's great. What were some lessons that you think you took away from the win on opening night and then your most recent loss?
We really need to come out like first half and not wait. I think we get a little nervous and frustrated when especially young players aren't at the same tempo as the older players. So
I'll ask a question, and honestly, any of you could answer this, but with Cardington, obviously we talked a little bit about them when you guys were here, but not as big of a powerhouse this year. What does it take for you ladies then to try and not necessarily take that role, but be the team in the KMAC that, you know, gets to that same level? Do you want to be at that level and competing for a KMAC title? What will it take for that to happen?
Honestly, if we the KMAC is like up for grabs for anyone this year, so like as long as we like put in the work and like I don't know, just like keep at it, I think we'll be fine.
Is that your expectation coming into the year? Some of you older girls, did you feel like you were legitimate KMAC contenders?
Yeah, everybody has a shot at it this year. Like there's no like dominant team. We're all pretty good. So every game's a win or lose battle.
And you got East Knox coming up in your next game, so the KMAC opener. How key is it to start 1-0 and make sure that you're at the top of the league instead of the bottom?
Yeah, we want to make sure we start off strong so we have a little cushion going into the next game, and just making sure we're on point before we head into the later part of the season.
Well, I seen that you girls were out here in the hallway while we were getting set up, and you were playing some foosball and a little bit of Papa Shot. Who was the top dogs out there?
Oh, that was me and Kennedy,
me
for
and
sure.
Let's
For
go.
sure.
It was us.
All right, I got a question. I know we always hype up Freddyburg as Centerburg being maybe your biggest rival, but are they your biggest rival? And if not, who is it?
I don't know. Cardington's very, very close with us. I mean, me and Jill and a couple of other girls have seen what all the KMAC schools have done last year. So I think we just got to really push and work hard.
All right, before we let you girls get out of here, we want to get to know you a little bit on a personal level. So I'm curious, who would you say is like kind of the class clown in the group? Who's the funniest girl here in the building?
Kennedy.
Everyone's pointing to her.
What does she do?
I'm just hilarious.
She
Like,
likes
I'm honestly just like hilarious.
Yeah, very, very unique.
Who's the smartest kid out here? Who's the brainiac of the bunch?
Kit.
Kit Bowman.
No question. Do you want to address that, Kit? Is there kind of like a girl with a bad girl reputation out there that you would really want if you got into a fist fight on the court?
It's Maya.
Maya, really? See, because when we did the pre-show hype stuff, I thought she was like the nicest one in the bunch. She had me fooled.
Oh, buddy.
Ooh, just don't get on her bad side, huh? Who would you say is the best dressed? Who's the fashionista in the group?
Callie.
It's Callie Carpenter. No discussion.
Okay, cut and dry right there. What about best hairstyle? Who really puts the time and effort?
Oh, for sure.
Do not say my name. Don't you dare.
I don't know. It's a bit of a tie on that one.
Probably Callie
It's
or
probably
Maya.
Callie or Maya, yeah.
I don't know.
Who's the most responsible girl in the group? And this is probably an easy one because you just got one junior and a bunch of sophomores and freshmen.
Joe Bowden.
So, Jill, you kind of got your act together and you need to be the leader for the rest of these girls?
Sure.
Pretty clearly. Who's the most forgetful?
Ella.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
As you can see in the jersey.
Pretty much.
All
answer,
right,
yeah.
clearly the freshman. Well, don't let her give you directions when you head home, for sure. Make sure you get out your GPS coordinates and maps. All right, guys, I think that's kind of all that we got for you. Is there any message that you want to send out to any of our viewers that are watching? Now's the time.
go Freddies.
Go Freddies.
All right, the Lady Freddies in the flesh. Hey, thanks for coming down here. Woo! And we're looking forward to having them live and free all season long in the KMAC. We'll have at their place 5 times.
Hayden and I think, got their first call against Cardington coming up this week when we actually kick off our coverage. A lot of games this week.
Off. Can you get that right?
Tip-off, kickoff.
Kickoff.
Hey, U.S. is playing tomorrow at 2 o'clock. They could get in the round of 16.
That's soccer.
That's soccer. They're kicking
They
it
kick
off.
it off
They
there.
kick it. That's everything. It's all mashed together, you know.
Whatever, Travis.
Lay off.
All
It's
right.
been-
Speaking of mashed together, Travis, perfect segue for this. You know what you're doing. You're a pro, man.
You doing it
We
right, my
mashed
friend.
together all the interviews that we had from this past week, and we're going to deliver them to you hot and fresh right now in an all-new edition of Talk of the Town. Thanks, girls.
I love that we play for each other. We play for each other every game, and I feel like that's the main reason why we win our games, because we have such a great brotherhood that takes care of each other.
I mean, it's difficult for me. Last year we had Haley, Olivia, and so I was kind of like just the 4th or 5th man. But this year it's definitely different, but I just keep doing what I do, and everyone else can do what they do.
I just want to have the best year we can, continue being a good teammate. That's it. Well, we play Clearfork next week. We're just going to go game by game, do our thing, possession by possession. We're going to do our thing.
You're one of the leaders coming back for this team as just a junior, of course, big sophomore season. What were your expectations for yourself and kind of your role on this squad this season?
Well, all summer we've been thinking about one thing, and that was tonight. And me and Cam, our leader, he does a great job, and he doesn't get he does all the dirty work, and it's really important. And we've been thinking about it all summer, and I think we remembered that in the second half, and we kind of turned it up.
So definitely the shortest edition of Talking the Town that we've had so far up to this point. Just a few games last week with the Thanksgiving break, and I think it's a good time for everybody. Like they said, it's kind of just a reset button. Have fun with friends and family, and then get back to action because basketball is the longest season
Best
that there
one.
is.
I was waiting forward to this, for a couple weeks now. I can't wait to call some basketball. And speaking of the Freddies, we're the exclusive live stream provider of the KMAC. So every single KMAC team, girls and boys, and a little bit of wrestling as well, will be showing you this winter season. That's what they call a plug.
Oh, boom.
Got the little segue earlier, got the plug now. There we go.
All right, well, a lot of people were looking forward to the game on Saturday, and for the most part, I think it kind of lived up to the expectations. Ohio State versus Michigan. The Buckeyes, however, in the last 7 minutes of the game, they allow 14 unanswered points, and Michigan runs away with it 45-23. Quite literally is the right way to put it because they ripped off 2 big runs. So, gentlemen, the question is, Does that performance by Ohio State, who entered the game ranked number 2 in the country and was undefeated up to that point, does that eliminate them, in your mind, from the Final Four in the college football playoff? Or do you feel like they still have a legitimate case and argument to get in? Hayden, you may go first.
Oh, it hurts just to even watch this. I mean, like, college football is my world. That's my sport. That's what I pay the most attention to. And diehard Buckeyes fan. So obviously this is hard to re-see. You know, I took the last couple of days and looked away from ESPN. Didn't watch SportsCenter today. I've just looked away from all this stuff. Now I want to look at it, but the way that I initially saw this question this morning, the way it was worded was, do the Buckeyes deserve to go? Even as a diehard Buckeye fan, no. They do not deserve to go to the playoff. That breaks my heart to say it, but this game proved it. They don't deserve to be in the playoff, and for the reasons that every one of us Buckeyes fans was angry about on Saturday, whether it was the falling asleep in the secondary on defense, too many penalties. I believe we had 9 for 91 yards. And then some of the decisions from Coach Day, absolute head scratchers. So I think they were outplayed and they were outcoached. So deserve to? No. But is there still a chance? Yes. And that's the terrifying but awesome thing about college football and the 14 playoff that we still have. There's still a chance. It's just like when Travis starts going over all the chances teams have at the end of high school football. Mm-hmm. There's still mathematically a chance.
Here.
Yeah. If some of those things happen, a lot of people obviously to pay a lot of attention on the Trojans, Horned Frogs, their championship games, and a debate may be there to be had. But we're going to have to wait and see what happens in the conference title games this weekend.
And actually, you want me to break out some Lenardi? I'll break out some Lenardi because once this game was going on, South Carolina looking for their second straight upset against the top 10 team. They beat Clemson, who was right behind Ohio State. And then in the evening, we're up at the City Grill having a little dinner, and we watched Texas A&M knock off LSU, which was right behind Ohio State.
Right.
So in the top 25 in the coaches poll right now, Ohio State just drops down to 5.
Right.
The two teams ahead of them, TCU plays Kansas State in the Big 12 championship. TCU very vulnerable. They barely beat my Mountaineers, and they suck this year. There's your West Virginia reference for the week. USC, they held off Notre Dame, but they play a very tough Utah squad that I believe Utah beat them already at home earlier this year in a very emotional game. For their teammates that had passed away. They played for them. They got the win. So that's two teams ahead of Ohio State that have a chance of losing. One of those two teams lose. Ohio State's back in the top 4 because their lone loss is to the number 2 team in the country. That's a pretty darn good loss when it comes looking at it for other teams. But the crazy thing is, if TCU and USC both lose, Ohio State's going to make it. And you know who the other team's going to make it?
Well, I know you're going to
It's
say
going to be
Alabama.
It's going to be
There's no
Alabama.
way that happens.
They're
There's no
They're
way.
at 6. There's only 2 teams with 1 loss. That's Ohio State and USC. USC loses the
Bama
Utah.
has 2.
Yeah, but it's Bama. And you know somebody in that committee is going to be like, well, we got to have Bama in there because the money and blah, blah, blah. It's stupid, but Alabama's still going to somehow make it in there, and they're probably going to win the national championship, and I'm going to hate it. And that's going to expand the playoffs just because of that fact. But, yes, Ohio State has a really good chance of making it. Now, if USC and TCU both win their conference championships, Ohio State's probably going to play Tulane in the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, I think USC is really the only team to kind of monitor at this point. And if USC wins, they're in. If they lose, I think Ohio State leapfrogs them and gets in because, like you said, we lost to the number 2 team in the country. They're going to have 2 losses to the same team, even though we're not sure what the result's going to be.
You think Purdue has any type of shot?
No.
Not the Purdue team that I saw
3 losses
this year.
Yeah, no way.
That whole division is just.
That's what I mean.
Blah.
It's tough because you have Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan all in the same one.
And they're all in the top 10.
Right. All on the same side of the Big Ten. So before we move away from this, let me just say that, yes, mathematically, we do have a chance. So it's not like I'm not rooting for us to get in.
I'd like to see, and you hate for situations like this where it just helps your team out, but I really would like to see the Big Ten championship game not be the East-West thing anymore. How about just the teams, the two best teams?
Like the Big 12.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit better. Then we'd be seeing a rematch with Michigan.
Back-to-back.
And a lot more fun than going into a game where we're all just kind of like, man, Purdue versus Michigan. I think it'll be a lot more fun. I understand why they do it the way that they do it, just broken up
Well, you'll be
geographically.
playing USC or UCLA next year.
That's going to be interesting.
That'll be weird.
Yeah. All right, Trav, that's all I got. I think that, with Clemson and LSU losing, that it really opened the door for Ohio State. And they got a really good shot. I think they got a better than 50-50 shot of actually making it into the Final Four. Do they deserve to be there? Right. Like Hayden said, I don't know. It depends. Like, had we lost to Notre Dame week 1, and now we're still not, say Michigan still has the better record, but we beat them in the head-to-head type thing, we're not going to the Big Ten. Do you feel differently about them if the loss was 12 weeks ago versus, like, 2 days ago? I think that's just one thing to
That's
think
when you
about.
won a national title, lost to Virginia Tech.
Right.
And make your way all the way back to Wisconsin and then get in and win the national championship. It's just when that's...
I guess it matters, though, playing your best football at the right time.
Yeah.
And clearly, Buckeyes did not.
Just still on
Saturday. It's still confusing to me how they do these rankings. Speaking of rankings, let's tip things off. I got it right that time with college basketball. And let me pose this question to you. With everything that's going on, you have the transfer portal now, NIL, so players are moving around. You know, it might change things up. You have your blue bloods still in this preseason ranking 1, 2, 3, 4. But should there be a preseason top 25 college basketball poll? Do you want to know why I asked this? Because the preseason poll, the top 25 teams, 8 of them this week in the first official poll of the season dropped at least 8 spots. North Carolina, your Tar Heels, started at number 1, lost twice in the Phil Knight Legacy Tournament. They're all the way down to 18. So this is my question. Should there be preseason polls? Because it seems like this year really not working. And it doesn't help other teams that maybe are good that weren't ranked. And now, they're 6-1. Maybe they're undefeated, but they're still not getting votes because, they weren't in there. The transfer portal has really thrown things around because on paper, we got a couple 5 stars, but then there's a couple transfer guys that haven't really gotten into the system. You may be ranked number 1, but they're not completely ready yet. Why do you need polls beforehand to determine this? Because some of these teams might slip up early, and it's not going to determine it. Brian?
Because it has absolutely no factor on college basketball, period, what the rankings are. It doesn't matter at all. Should you have a preseason ranking? Yeah, it's a barometer to let you know where teams are at. North Carolina just played 2 of the top 18 teams in the country. They lost both of those games, but they definitely could have won both of them. And now, where are they? Properly rated for their record right now. Heading into the season, they had everybody back that just went to a national championship game except for one player. Yes, they were the rightful number 1. Gonzaga was the rightful number 2 with everybody that they had coming back. But what happens? You play good teams at the beginning of the season, and it kind of shakes its way out. So do we need the preseason ranking? Absolutely. Because at the end of the year, it's meaningless, and also at the beginning of the year, it gives us something to talk about and lets you know, just on paper, what teams have coming back. I think it's a useful tool.
Hayden?
I would agree to say it's useful for people like us so we can talk about it, but I also, kind of how we were talking with the football and the way that they rank things and what all goes into that, I do question a little bit. I'll give a plug to Kent State. Houston barely escaped, and they only moved to 1 by default because North Carolina lost. Now, I've never seen a team rewarded to Kent State's good, but we're not one of those nationwide blue blood known schools for basketball. So you go from 2 to 1 by barely escaping Kent State on your home floor. So it just all goes back to these numbers are just very, I don't even know how to put the right word on it. They're not completely meaningless, but like you said, when you have such a large tournament like March Madness, it just helps formulate the brackets and such. But so yeah, preseason polls, don't read much into them, but I think they'll be useful to stay.
And the only poll you really need to look at is the RPI. I mean, that correctly determines because of strength and schedule and stuff. But as I was saying, has the transfer portal, though, really changed things when it comes to maybe voting on here? Yeah, you got the national champion, a national runner-up, bringing people back, but you say another team brought in some of the best players from other squads that were their number 1 or the player of the year that come in and they aren't ranked. You see them for a while. I memean, how can that change your perception on some teams now before the season? Because, they're coming in. You think this team's going to be bad, but then you don't know what's going to happen. And they go 7-8-0, and it changes things.
I think that you got to just credit the writers and hope that they know what they're talking about. But again, the preseason poll, it just doesn't mean a whole lot. It's just a starting point. You know, everybody gets out of the gates at the same exact level. Just because you weren't ranked preseason, that doesn't really mean a whole lot. You can play yourself up into that top 10 or the top 15 if you win the games. And at the beginning of the year, it's just, like I said, it's just a little barometer. Hey, we feel like this team could be pretty good, and it's rare. It's really rare, Travis, that you'll see a top 5 preseason team not finish in the top 25 at the end of the year. So I do think that the AP gets it right more often than not. There's only a couple of teams that I can think on from the recent past that were like ranked number 1 out of the gates and then really fell off where they were like 500 or something. So I think that they kind of know what they're doing, and it's just fun to talk about at the beginning of the season and see, hey, we're preseason number 1. Now can we stay there? And for North Carolina as the example, since they just got knocked back 17 spots, that's huge for them with 2 losses to really good teams, quadruple overtime in one. Now can they fight their way back in there? All it takes is winning at the end of the day.
So this is what 17, 18, 19, 20. All 4 of these teams dropped at least 4 spots. Duke, Carolina, Kentucky, Michigan State all dropped down towards the bottom. The Blue Bloods, kind of crazy there. But yeah, I like that. And I think if football moves their playoff to 12 teams like they're expecting to, this could be the same thing with those polls, because they used to be, even the last couple of years, those polls, if you were in the top 25, you had a chance of competing for a Final Four spot. If you weren't, it's going to be really tough for you.
Sure.
But if you get to 12, then it may be this just barometer that we see in college basketball now.
I think they will get to 12.
I hope they get to 12.
I think it's coming.
Yeah. That's it. Hayden?
Well, I'll keep it in the realm of sports, and I'll keep it between football and basketball as well. Mine might be the most serious arguments that we were just having about some other stuff, but since we are in that buffer period now between just having Thanksgiving and Christmas, I've seen a lot of debate this year about what's better to take in while you're enjoying your holiday, and whether football on Thanksgiving is better and more viewed, or whether basketball on Christmas Day. And this is purely opinion based. I don't believe there is a right or wrong. So it just comes down to what you enjoy more. But, I like to just throw it all together. It's a war between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and then the sport that gets paired with it. I'll go last. I'll let anyone kick it off that wants to.
I think it's got to be the NFL. That Giants-Cowboys game was, I think, one of the most watched football games.
They said
the most ever, because the perfect time rivalry and excuse me, but that was the perfect timing for it too. Everybody's sitting down with their pumpkin pie and stuff like that. So that's why I say the NFL and pumpkin pie is what I prefer. Because Christmas, it's cool that they have the hoops.
Right.
I mean, a couple years ago, the Cavs and Golden State,
that was a
heck of a game. But I just can't watch the whole day of NBA basketball, because Christmas is a little bit different than Thanksgiving. You're going around with family. You're not eating huge meals, so everybody's not just gathering around the TV as much. But you do have some of this. It'll be on in the background. But I just think NFL on Thanksgiving is just a little more meaningful to me than the NBA. But I know, Brian, you probably got that on all day on Christmas.
I do, and that's the beauty of just everybody having their own different holiday traditions and what you do and how you take it in. And I am kind of the opposite of what you just said. I can usually almost always sit through that first NFL game, and then I get through about the first half of the next one. Then I need to go find something to do.
It's the second game for me.
Right.
I get the first one. I'm at my dad's house eating. We're doing that. Maybe I'll watch the end of it. I'll get to my mom's. We'll turn that game on while we're eating. We'll sit down, watch the rest of it, and then while everybody's having conversations and having some nightcaps, the Sunday, the NBC night game is on in the background. But I could probably do that for one NBA game, but not watch a couple or half one or half the other.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of the NBA, is that there are many games going on that day. And
good matchups usually, too.
Always at my grandma's house, and that's the thing about it. That's what I was going to get to, is that it's usually, two teams that have a history. They have big-time matchups. They have the stars playing on Christmas Day. Matter of fact, it's a badge of honor to play on Christmas Day. We finally got good football on Thanksgiving. It's always the Lions, and then we get the Commanders in there, and then they throw the Cowboys, and
it's always the Cowboys and Lions having home games.
So many crap trash games that's why I honestly just feel like I don't pay that much attention to it. The NFC East gets all the love out there, and I didn't watch a ton of football on Thursday. I'll tell you this, me and my family on Christmas Day, it's on every TV at Grandma's house all day long. It's not the focal point unless the Cavs are on for me or the Nuggets for my family, or we've got a couple other family members that have different teams. But I gotta say it's the NBA, it's the star power, it's the big games, and it goes on all day long. I like it just a little bit more than Thanksgiving, but I do love sports all day on holidays.
Right. Yeah, I think it's not. I don't even know how deep it is for me. I like them both. I probably prefer football on Thanksgiving, but when you brought up the Cavs-Warriors game, that was pretty legendary.
That was fun.
If you have one of those teams in it, it obviously means a little bit more. But yeah, I just thought that was an interesting debate that I hadn't really put much thought to in years prior. But I think the NBA wasn't always known for it as much as football on Thanksgiving, but they've been really growing it the last few years.
Richard Jefferson, that dunk on Christmas. Everybody remember that play.
Yeah.
That was an unbelievable game, for sure.
That was.
And that was one of the few that actually everybody gravitated to it at Grandma's house.
Kyrie,
Where we had the froggy love. That was
all
an
that stuff.
unbelievable
That was
game.
a great game. Even, me, not the big NBA fan, but wherever I was that day for Christmas, we all stopped and gathered around for that fourth quarter at least, and that was worth it.
Well, real quick, before we turn the page, let me throw and just sprinkle in one last quick holiday. How about New Year's Day? Is that even the best of all of them? Because you get the bowl games, then you got basketball on, you have college basketball too. It's more than just one entity.
Not anymore. You know why? Because the Final Four. It kind of takes away because you have
Those
the
are
two games. It used to be, okay, you're getting ready for the Rose Bowl. You have the Fiesta Bowl beforehand, the Orange Bowl at night. But now it's just, you had the Outback Bowl, too, that started at 11 a.m. So you had that whole of kind of pretty much meaningful games all throughout. Now it's just a couple small bowl games, and then you get to the Final Four. It used to be a lot better for college football before they had the playoff.
Right, but that's the beauty of it, is that you also have the NBA and you have college basketball as well.
Yeah.
So I'd still probably just have my Christmas.
I mean, it used to be the Rose Bowl was worth it, too. Like, you'd watch the Buckeye fans are getting ready to play USC or UCLA. It was a big thing at night. Now it's like, if you're in the Rose Bowl, it's not a Final Four. There's players sitting out.
Yep.
I mean, it's just...
Yeah.
It's kind of ruined for me now. But you're right. You make the point of, college basketball. There's some big games on. The NBA, once again, has some games as well. But I think I'd still stick with Thanksgiving as the top one.
All right. Football over here. Hoops over here, and the basketball guy is going to wrap it up with some football here, guys. All right?
Football or football?
We're going with the FOOT football, and, man, you guys have been unbelievable all year long. The fans out there on all of our social media accounts dropping us all the votes for the top play in the Friday Night Phenoms, and we gave you the best plays that we had. Your winners, according to you, from the last 13 weeks leading up into the regional championship, and you broke it down to the best play of the year that we had here on the OH Report. And without further ado, here it is. And the top play of the year is this one right here. How about this Week 13 bomb? Max Payne to Wexler for the go-ahead touchdown. Danville comes all the way back to stun the Lucas Cubs, who led by 20 points to start the fourth quarter. But thanks to the heroics of these two right here, Payne to Wexler, that's the best play of the year, according to you, the fans. And it's hard to deny.
You know what? One play could have topped it if Warren JFK didn't pull off a miracle, and that was Max Payne's jump pass running touchdown that he had against JFK. But that was, I was sitting there with my jaw dropped for a good 5 minutes after that play. It was nuts. It deserved to be the top play of the year.
And that it was from Week 13. Thank you, fans, for all the votes. And thank you guys for watching, too. New edition of the OH.Report Podcast. Had some friends here in the building. Got some nice artwork now up on the whiteboard. And
there's Adam's email, too.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so if you ever have
Show
any
him some
problems,
love.
email that one there. That's right. All of your inquiries just in there. All right, I'm Brian for Travis and Hayden saying so long for tonight. We'll see you on
Monday Night Football, baby.
Live streams this week. And, I have nothing
It's a
else.
Victory Monday for you.
That's right. That's right, Brodies! Super Bowl. We coming.
In 10 years.
Or not.